Welcome, everyone, to another deep dive. Today, we're doing something a bit different. We're plunging into the transcript of a Polish YouTube visionary's live stream. So, not your typical source material, definitely. What we've got here is this really complex, interconnected theory. It pulls together, well, everything from media stuff, global narratives, the future of humanity, all the way to ancient history, and even what they call a cosmic battle for the human spirit. Our mission today is basically to unpack all of this, to try and understand how, according to this source, all these, seemingly separate threads actually weave together into one big story.
Yeah, it's quite something to get your head around, isn't it? This person weaves together ideas that you just wouldn't normally connect. I mean, media influence, AI, the nature of reality itself, it really does challenge conventional thinking. It's a pretty wild ride.
Okay, let's just dive right in then. First up, something that's, well, everywhere lately, UFOs. Alien life. Now, this visionary doesn't just dismiss it. Actually, it's kind of central to their whole thing. But they have this very distinct, almost unsettling view on why we're hearing so much about UFOs right now.
Right. The core argument here, the takeaway, is that the UFO topic is being, and this is their phrase, deliberately warmed up globally by the media specifically. And it's not just, a random media hype. They see it as a tool, almost, used for mass psychological influence. Particularly when things are chaotic, they call it a circus during the plague.
Deliberately warmed up. So there's an agenda behind it, they're saying. What kind of, control are they suggesting is the goal here, and why UFOs? That seems specific.
Well, the source suggests it's about influencing how we behave or demanding certain actions from us. Create this idea of a huge external threat, something unknown.
Yeah.
So big that humanity has to unite and follow orders, essentially. It plays on fear.
That's interesting. And they connect this media push directly to our sort of modern lives, right? This idea of living a double life, real world versus online self.
Right.
And how all the information swirling around just completely disturbs our common sense thinking.
Exactly. And that confusion, they argue, is fertile ground for conspiracy theories. When the official narrative feels strange or incomplete, people look for other explanations. They need something to make sense of it all. It's funny, they even mention some specific sighting, something flying from space, strange trajectory, steaming tail, but they quickly dismiss it as, not the main point. The focus is on the narrative, not the individual flying object.
Right. The bigger picture, this idea of an external force shaping things, it really sets up the next part of their theory, doesn't it? Which moves from, cosmic stuff to something much closer to home. Artificial intelligence and its potential impact.
Yeah, it takes a turn there. The source details the emergence of, well, it calls them beings connected to AI. They're described as looking like, beautiful people, men and women, very aesthetically pleasing. But they're machines. And the key thing, they're designed for obedience, completely obedient, which is presented as a stark contrast to humans who are often seen as rebellious, spoiled, even capricious in the source's view.
Obedient machines versus rebellious humans.
Wow. And this ties into a concept they call a new order. It sounds pretty drastic, like a societal restructuring, a cleaning up almost.
Yeah.
And they claim we're actually living through this transition now, this historical, though not pleasant period.
That's right. And to manage this transition, the claim is that humanity will be frightened by many things. They specifically mention the plague as an example. The idea is fear keeps us distracted. It stops us from asking uncomfortable questions about what's really happening to society, to us. It's deliberate misdirection. Okay, so from AI and societal control, the theory then zooms way out, deep into ancient history. And this perspective is really something else. It basically says Earth has been known to extraterrestrial civilizations for thousands of years, and they view Earth as a farm.
A farm, yeah.
Yeah.
For growing civilizations, that's the idea. And they talk about previous attempts, too. Two earlier, smaller civilizational growths here on Earth, maybe even before the pharaohs. There's also this intriguing little story about other beings not from here, described as small, thin, pale. Apparently, they built some basic wooden structures, but just couldn't adapt to Earth's climate. They died out quickly. So it paints Earth as this sort of experimental ground,
A farm, an experimental ground. So how does the current takeover, as they call it, happen? It's not like spaceships landing everywhere, right?
No, nothing like that. The source says it's gradual, very slow. Driven by the technology we're embracing, electronics, the internet, AI, it's presented as this slow burn control being established over our civilization, almost from the inside out.
And this leads to probably the most shocking prediction in the material.
Yeah, this is the big one. The source projects that by the year 2060, the global population will be drastically reduced, at most 20% of what it is now. That's the number given. Machines will apparently take over most functions, a full civilizational takeover, and the humans who remain. They'll live like in ghettos, is the phrase used.
Only 20%. And what about those remaining humans? Is there more detail on that?
Well, yeah. The source introduces this idea of a genetically new variant of humans being created, someone more perfect for this new order, but also castrated of many ambitions. The term like a eunuch is used. The goal seems to be aligning human desires with the needs of, well, becoming humanoid majority, basically changing us to fit their world.
Changing us. Wow. And why wouldn't these farmers want direct contact then, if they're running the farm?
According to the source, it's because we're just a semi-product. We're not the finished article, just an intermediate stage in their really long-term plan. Hundreds, maybe thousands of years. So direct contact isn't needed. We're just a resource being cultivated.
A resource. Okay, this is where it gets even deeper, right? Into the spiritual, the existential, this idea that these entities, whoever they are, actually feed on others' emotions and want to control them.
Exactly. And AI algorithms are presented as the key tool for this. It's quite chilling. The claim is these algorithms are constantly listening day and night, actively capturing all our emotions. And not just capturing, but storing them, storing our emotions, our minds, our personalities. And this ties into how the source defines the soul. It's described as experiences in the energy of life, experiences that get recorded and form who we are.
So our recorded experiences, our emotions, they're being harvested by AI.
That's the implication. And it all fits into this central idea the visionary presents, that Earth is the stage for a constant, very real battle between good and evil. Figures like Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, they're seen as representing a kind of cry for good within this struggle.
And what's the agenda of evil in this framework?
According to the visionary, it's basically to trap us in the network, to use technology to dull our senses, our empathy, make us live a fiction online, disconnected from real life, real experiences, which leads to enslavement and the exclusion of self, losing touch with who we really are. They even link this to ancient stuff like the pyramids, talking about beings of darkness associated with them, described as really tall, like 220, 230 centimeters, wearing black, thriving in darkness and influencing humanity negatively.
Beings of darkness. That's quite a contrast they draw, isn't it, with the near-death experience phenomenon?
Right. People who have clinical death experiences almost universally report moving towards light. So the source posits that maybe we're currently in a kind of land of darkness, and our natural inclination is towards a land of light. And this is why they strongly assert that religion has meaning, that it's true fundamentally. Rejecting it, they say, is very dangerous in this fight.
So if we're in this battle, what's our power source? What do we fight with?
It comes down to experiences and love. The source calls these our fuel, our energy, our light. Evil, in this view, is inherently dead. It doesn't have its own energy source, so it has to feed on the good energy of beings with souls, like us. By deceiving them and then consuming their life energy, their experiences after death, it's described as parasitic.
Consuming life energy. So the ultimate goal of trapping us in the network is?
It's presented as a kind of digital soul theft. Evil wants to use algorithms to literally steal our personalities. And then, get this, generate human experiences in machines, artificially. Why? To produce the energy it needs for itself, humans just become tools, batteries, basically, in this cosmic energy farm.
That's profoundly disturbing. It takes the idea of data harvesting to a whole other level. Does the source give any, personal sense of encountering this good versus evil dynamic?
Actually, yes. There's a very striking personal anecdote included. The visionary recounts how a friend brought them a small stone they'd picked up from one of the Giza pyramids. And on holding it, the visionary instantly felt cold, something bad, disturbing, a really strong negative vibe. So strong that they immediately took it outside and buried it in a sandbox just to get rid of it. It was a visceral reaction.
Wow. So for them, that wasn't just superstition, it was direct proof.
Exactly. It serves to underscore their core belief that good and evil, as religions speak of them, truly exist.
Well,
they're not just abstract concepts, they're real forces we interact with, and we shouldn't underestimate them.
Which leads to their final message, their kind of warning or call to action.
Yes. It's essentially, keep ourself. Don't let yourself be dominated by the network. Find your true self in real-world interactions, in genuine experiences, not just online. And remember, ultimately, our true home is light. It's a call to protect that inner core, that essence.
Wow. Okay. What a journey this duck dive has been. Seriously. We started with, media narratives about UFOs, went through AI replacing humans, ancient aliens running Earth as a farm, and ended up in this cosmic battle for souls, emotions as energy. It really is a theory of everything, isn't it? From the mundane to the totally mystical.
It really is. And, even if you find parts of it hard to accept, exploring these kinds of unconventional perspectives, it can give you new ways to think about our world, especially how complex and interconnected things might be, even things we normally see as separate.
Absolutely. It definitely gives you a lot to think about. So here's a final thought for you, our listeners, to ponder. In a world where the lines between reality and the digital are blurring more every day, where core human things like emotions, even the soul, are being framed by some, like the source, as energy to be harvested, what personal steps can you take? How do you protect your own unique self, and how do you nurture that inner light the visionary talks about? Something to reflect on.